everyone, welcome back to the Boom Boom Room. We are back with Whispers Across America, and it is time for the icy state, cold state of Alaska. So, and my co-host for today, this Alaskan adventure, is Voodoo. How you doing, Voodoo?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. This will be cool. Telling some spooky stories about all 50 states. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm real excited about it. The first one should already, be out, premiere, watched it. So I hope everybody enjoyed that one with Ted. And I know you and Ted are busy, so I'm gonna switch off on that. I might even throw in another co-host. I would like to do, besides the 50 states, all over the world and more. There's just so much out there, like cryptid things, tales, stories, phenomena, spooky things out there under your bed at night, in your closet. So I'm enjoying it. But I guess Voodoo, without further ado, I will get started on the first one. And me and Voodoo was talking before I pressed record. He's heard one of them, one of the tales that he heard from another podcaster. Now these I've not heard none of these, so I'm gonna be listening to them and reading them for the first time. But anyway, here we go. This first one is called the Kushtaka, Kushtaka. I think that's how you'd pronounce it, right, Voodoo? Kushtaka? That sounds about right. But that's spelled.
My Alaskan's kind of rusty, so we're going to go with, yep, that's how you pronounce it.
All right. Let's agree on something. Okay. Alaskan shape-shifting otter man. Deep in the icy wilderness of southeast Alaska, the Tlingit and other indigenous people tales of terrifying creature known as the Kushtaka, meaning land otter man. These beings are said to be shapeshifters, half man, half otter, with the power to mimic human voices and lure lost souls to their doom. Before I read any more, guys, I'm redneck, so if I butcher any kind of word, I'll do it. But anyway, according to legend, Kushtaka prey on those who get separated from their group or become lost in the snowy woods or icy waters. They'll imitate the cries of a baby or the voice of a loved one, drawing you closer and deeper into the wild. Once you're near, the Kushtaka either tears you apart, or worse, transforms you into one of their kind, dooming you to wander as a shapeshifter forever. Some say they trap your soul so you can never reincarnate. Others whisper that they only appear during the times of tragedy, shipwrecks, avalanches, or blizzards, when the smell of death hangs in the cold air. Dogs' elders say can sense the Kushtaka before you can. If your dog whines and won't go forward on a trail, best turn around. So have you ever heard of the Kushtaka at all, Voodoo?
Oh, that's a new one for me. I mean, I have never heard an otter man. That sounds strange.
Yeah, it's an otter man. I wonder if he's like super huge. If he's an otter man, that would be kind of funny looking, really. I mean, I'm not trying to. I mean, I gotta pull up some pics, man. That just seems,
I think part of Alaska being so, a lot of it is still so isolated. I understand that they're going to come up with some pretty crazy folklore stories, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's isolated. I mean, I've seen a lot of pics online about it, and it actually looks like a huge otter man. In a way, it kind of looks like Dog Man, but with an otter head. I mean, that's what I'm getting. And but that is strange. I've never heard of an otter man. It either kill you or
That's a first for me.
wow, and actually trap you, turn you into an otter man. I wonder where how old that is. That is a strange story. Huh.
That's like, and I know there's a lot of, you know, there's villages in Alaska that are just up and abandoned for all kinds of different reasons. But for one of the reasons, it's a supernatural being. So, like, Portlock was one of them that I remember hearing about. And all of a sudden, everybody just left, and nobody knows why. But the rumor was that they were fleeing from some creature.
I believe it, man. That's like isolated up there. That's people don't understand. There's a lot of people. There is a lot of people in the world, but there is a lot of area and wilderness and stuff like that that has not been discovered. I mean,
oh, for sure.
And I'm looking online here. It says in the search of Kushtaka, a documentary film by Dennis Waller on the land otter of the Tlingit. It says Indian, so I'm just reading it that way. Indigenous people, but legends that endure for centuries, doing for a reason. So yeah, that's been going on a while, dude. That's that tale is just not something just written today. So that's definitely been going on for a while. But if you do not have anything else to add to that story, Voodoo, you want to read the next one that that you were worried about butchering?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. The first one Ashes gave me to make fun of the way I pronounce it. My creature is the Qalupalik, the child snatcher of the Arctic Sea. Beneath the thick, frozen skin of the Arctic Ocean lurks something ancient and cold-blooded, the Qalupalik. According to Inuit legend, she is a humanoid sea creature with green, rubbery skin that's dripping with slime, long black hair that floats like seaweed, and claws sharp enough to carve through bone. She wears a amudi, which is a traditional Inuit parka used to carry babies, but she doesn't carry it for love or for warmth. She carries it for theft. She is the reason that Inuit parents warn their children never stray too close to the water. They say that the Qalupalik sings soft and haunting like the wind through a hollow bone. Her voice is the sound of loneliness and cold, and it pulls children in like a magnet. If the child gets too close, she grabs them and dives deep below the sea, never to be seen again. Some of the stories, she eats them slowly to absorb their youth. Others claim she keeps them in a village under the sea, where they live forever but can never return to their families. To this day, some coastal villages leave offerings by the sea, small toys or bits of food, all to appease her or to beg for the return of their child. And if you hear humming near the water's edge on a still night, you better be going home.
Wow.
And that's the end of the Qalupalik story.
Frozen skin. Wow. Oh man, that is some creepy looking. So she's stealing children.
Yep. I think a lot of cultures have stories about creatures in the water, and you wonder how many of them are just, they tell them to kids to keep them away from the water because they might drown. But I know I've heard a lot of, mermaids and all kinds of other stories about, cultures that have stories about creatures in the water.
I mean, as far as cryptid goes, I mean, what's your belief on it? Do you believe there's a bunch of cryptids out there? I
I'm
mean,
not. I
honest
I go
question.
back and forth. I go back and forth on that.
Yeah,
Seeing you're asking me today on Friday, I would say no.
yeah,
But then that seems kind of short-sighted because, I mean, I know that sounds weird coming from someone who, does the paranormal like I do, but I don't know. A lot of
yeah,
people do. A lot of there's sightings all over, and there was that whole thing they did at Skinwalker Ranch, and it was all scientists, and
yeah,
they found stuff that happened there. So I don't know. I
yeah.
mean, part of me, part. I guess I don't, but it'd be kind of cool if they were true. Like I know in Wisconsin, once you get to Wisconsin, I'll be interested to see what you pull up. But I know we
Yeah.
have like the Beast of Bray Road and some
Oh yes.
Hogman kind of thing in the Kettle Moraine Forest area. So who knows, man? It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Normally, what like they say, legend and folklore usually start in truth, and then the story gets added to and embellished over the years. So it could
Well,
be.
I think that me personally, not saying that, I'm 48 years old. I'm kind of to the point I don't give a shit what people think, but what happened to me in 2011, the encounter I had, I didn't see it, but I know that it was something that wasn't, you know, supposed to exist that I heard. And, I've got a few friends in the cryptid, recent friends that I've made in the cryptid community. And you hear their stories, they sit and honestly tell you what happened to them when they were a kid. And, no reason to lie. And two other people was there with them. I mean, honest, guys that hold jobs, they got families, kids. I mean, why would they lie? You know what I mean? So, you're either you don't believe it or you got to see it to believe it. I believe that there is cryptids out there. Now, I don't personally believe that there's all these ones that these tales, maybe the woman in the sea, maybe because that was some kind of plague that happened, hundreds of years ago, and the kids were all dying, and they made up that
Or
story. So
or polar bears grabbing kids who get too close to the.
yeah,
It could be so many different things. But like I said, I think stories like that get carried down from especially someplace like Alaska where it's so isolated and
oh
stuff.
yeah,
I think it's just more to, you know, put
yeah,
the fear of God into kids. Stay away from the water so you don't fall in and drown.
exactly. That's what I believe too, because I mean, you got to have something to scare the kids. I mean, when I was a kid, like my mom, we lived kind of out in the country and had this, country road that about five relatives lived on and had their own little lot of land, that they lived. But at night, there was a road that went up to this old highway, and they called it the Well Road because it was an old well on there that I seen. It was just covered over, but they call it the Well Road. And they would tell me, at night don't be walking down the road with headless horsemen's there. And I actually believed that, when I was a kid. And that would just scare me not to go down that road. I guess not to watch the cars because the traffic, on the pavement. And I realized that they was just telling me that just to warn me, for me not to get in trouble or to get hurt. But they made that story up, and I believe a lot of the stories that are made up for that reason. I mean, me personally and stuff. But yeah,
Yes,
go ahead. You want to add
I
something?
know. I know for me, as long as I've been doing the paranormal thing, I would love to go somewhere where they're looking for cryptid. Spend a night out in the woods somewhere. I would love to do that because we didn't. I've never done a lot of camping and stuff like that. I wish I would have, but I've never have. So to me, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that I've camped out a few times, and I think that Actually, I was thinking about the other day down in eastern Oklahoma. I was doing some paint work out in the country for some farms back in, I think it was 2001, and I camped out at this. It was actually a camp they had. I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere, but I was working like 10 miles from there, and it was. So I camped out. Me and my brother-in-law had a tent, and we was fishing, and this was a hot spot. They call it X down there for Bigfoot activity. And I remember, man, it was so creepy at night, all these woods and everything. But if I know what I know now and experiences if I had back then, I would have been scared to death. I think that once you kind of believe something or even had something happen to you, your senses are heightened when you're in those situations. You know, you're really looking for them. And I'm not talking because I know your mind can like look at something in the dark, and they got a word for that. That create stuff, a face or something like that. And I know that can happen. But I think that now, if I want hunting or not hunting or camping, then yeah, my senses would be, crazy looking around. But yeah, that would be cool, man, to go out. I think I would do it, with the right people and the right.
Oh, I would for sure, without a doubt.
I definitely had to have some kind of protection, and I don't mean condoms either. So
I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it's so I know the last on the last podcast I did with you.
Yep.
I told you that story about the thing that was floating above my face. So it's weird. It's like an internal struggle with me because that happened to me, but then I don't believe in like Bigfoot or like the Qalupalik or anything like that. So that's so strange. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm maybe I am one of those I got to see it to believe it people, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's our human nature, because especially when I never was gullible in my life, but coming up, I think I thought more people was good than bad. But then when I get older, I realized that most people's bad, not good. But I think my point in life now, I don't believe nothing. I always think somebody's trying to pull something on me. But I mean, it's good to be skeptic. It's good to be skeptic and wonder and ask questions about everything. Stuff like that. But anyway, I guess it's time for me to read my second one. And hopefully I will not butcher the name. I shouldn't. It's called the Keelut. It's Keelut. The Keelut, I'll say it that way. The hairless demon dog. In the deepest shadows of the Arctic winter, when the wind howls like a beast and the stars seem frozen in place, the Keelut prowls. Unlike wolves or sled dogs, the Keelut has no fur. Its body is black and hairless, skin stretched tight like a rawhide over muscle and bone. Its eyes shine an unnatural red, and its breath steams like smoke in the frozen air. But the most terrifying thing, it leaves no tracks in the snow. The Inuit say the Keelut is a demon spirit, a harbinger of death that follows lone travelers. Some believe it's a cursed soul doomed to roam the land between the living and the dead. Others whisper that it's not of this world at all. Something summoned or awakened in ancient times when humans first dared to tame the ice. If you're walking alone at night and feel a prickling at the back of your neck, if your sled dogs whimper and refuse to go forward, if your fire dies suddenly and for no reason, it may be the Keelut stalking you from just beyond the firelight. They say if you make eye contact with it, you'll be frozen in place, paralyzed, helpless, forced to watch as it tears your soul from your body. Many who vanish in the wild north are never found. No prints, no signs only silence, and sometimes a thin trail of blood across the snow. So the hairless demon dog.
This one I actually did hear of in
Really?
a creepypasta story about this guy who lived out in the woods all by himself, and they put him out there so he could observe and study all these weird creatures that were there. But the Keelut was one of the ones that was in that story. So that one I actually did hear of
Really?
before.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is I mean, that one there, you could, look up, say that, well, hairless dog. I mean, there's a lot of hairless dogs that got mange.
Yeah.
I ain't
that,
trying
again,
to
like
debunk it or nothing, but
like we said about a lot of cultures have stories about creatures that live in the water. Dog-shaped kind of creatures are all over too.
yeah. Yeah.
This one's hairless. That's strange. 'Cause, a lot of legends and cryptids and stuff are a lot of people put off to like misidentification. I mean, you would think, especially in Alaska, something that was hairless wouldn't really survive too long.
No, that's what I was thinking. So it's got to be some kind of supernatural. Trying to pull up some pics and see if they got, some cool pics of it. See what it looks like. Of course, it's going to look like a hairless dog. They've got a bunch of different pictures. They have one off of Ghostbusters, the demon dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They got some weird ones there. But I mean, that can be explained. I mean, but the how do you pronounce it? Inuit. Inuit. That's indigenous people, right? Of Alaska.
In Alaska.
You can imagine the stories and tales that they've brought down. Their whole generations and generations. And my son, he's got an odd hobby. He likes to get on Google Earth and to find the most remote villages and look at them. And That's found cool. One in Alaska. It's just like a little baby island off Alaska, and it's just like 20 huts on the island. There's nothing else. And there's people living there. But, excuse me. I used to work in the Midwest. To me, like people in the Midwest, and then down here where I live, which I live down south, but they seem like they live like 10 years back in the past in some of those smaller towns I go in. Like even the fashion and everything, I don't, it's just weird. I guess because more of the trends and everything are more in the big cities or whatever, but you can imagine though being out in the remote areas and the technology slower getting there, you know what I mean? And trends and certain things, and then certain people don't even want to, change to modern times. And damn, dude, the tales that they tell to their kids, and like I said, I think a lot of the stories were made up, to scare them straight. But then again, you could, you're more skeptic. I respect that and stuff with that part. I'm more of a believer, but I'm not saying I believe every one of them. But I do believe in cryptids, dude, for real. So.
In Alaska would be the perfect place for parents to tell their kids stories like that, because environmentally, man, the kids get lost out there. What are the odds that they make it a night?
Where they're going, dude. It's really really bad. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't live up there in the cold, dude. There's no way.
Oh no.
I mean,
I hate the cold here in Wisconsin. No way I'm doing Alaska.
I mean, just like where you live at, how many months are really bad, real cold up there where you live? Honestly,
it depends year to year, but In Wisconsin, man, we've gotten snow 6 months out of the year.
Dang, really?
Yeah, it is snowed in October, November, December, January, February, and March. It's
Wow.
even snowed in April. There's been opening days
Yeah.
for the Milwaukee Brewers where there's snow.
Wow.
So,
That
but as far
is
as like
nuts.
really, really cold, I would probably say like, you know, December, January, and February are usually the worst
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah, that's how it is here. And then in Arkansas and Oklahoma. I always say Arkansas, Oklahoma because I live on the line. I'm born here in Arkansas and I live 5 miles over the line of Oklahoma my whole life. So that's kind of a weird situation, but it's January and February, the coldest months, really February. But I've seen it really nice some winters. I'm talking about it December and January. It's just weird, but
Nice.
but in the last 4 or 5 years, it's we've been getting pretty good. A snow, not no foot, but decent snow. But what's bad where we live is ice storms. If they have ice storms, and get on the power lines and everything, that's no electricity. That's what sucks, or pipes and stuff bursting. That's what sucks because 2 years ago I lived out in the country in a small water company, and you had to go out every month and read your own meter. That's how remote I was, and I'd have to go up there and show them the numbers, and I'd pay my water bill. And I guess if they could tell if you was trying to manipulate the numbers, and if they had to come out and
Sure.
read it yourself, they would. But anyway, the pipes burst the last winter I was there before I moved here. And this was out in Arkansas, and dude, it was bad. There was no water. I had to have my son bring me water, and these big jugs he had. But the cold, I can imagine up Alaska. Wow. I just don't. I think, would you get used to the cold in Alaska? Is there any way to get used
I'm sure.
to it? Yeah.
I'm sure eventually you do. Like people get used to living at higher altitude than,
Yeah.
when you live at lower altitude. People get high altitude sickness or,
Yeah.
they always talk about the NFL when they got to play in like Denver and stuff. It's higher altitude, so people get winded faster. So I'm sure you get used to everything eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I went to, I think it was 2016, last time I've been to Pikes Peak in the Colorado Springs. Man, it's like beautiful when you go up there. Narrow roads, and when you come down, I think when you come down, I don't know if they do it when you drive it up Pikes Peak, but when you're coming down, they check your brakes. They got every so often, they got, these guys or park dudes so got this machine
Oh,
and
wow.
they'll check your brakes. Yeah. They're overheating their stuff. Yeah. It is wild, man, when you get up to, but anyway, I couldn't about breathe, man. And I was smoking back then, probably 2 packs a day, but man, I couldn't breathe up there. I went to the little gift shop. Me and my cousin, looked around and said, dude, I got to get out of here. I can't breathe. So I can't either. But we had been drinking heavy for about 3 days, so that might have been something to do with it. But anyway,
sure.
you'd have to get used to the cold up there. I mean,
Yeah, for
somewhat,
sure.
yeah. I think your body adapts to a certain point. It's got to.
Yep.
I haven't
Exactly.
adapted to the heat yet down here, but anyway. For our last story, Voodoo, you ready to read it?
Yeah, I'm good to go. So the last one I have for today is called the Tornit. Again, apologies if I mispronounced that, but so this one, the wild giants of the north. Before the Inuits ruled the northern lands, the Tornit walked freely across the tundra. Giant hairy beings said to be part spirit and part beast. Taller than 2 men and strong enough to crush bones with a single hand, the Tornit were once neighbors to the Inuit. Some stories say they traded goods, shared fishing grounds, and even lived in nearby caves. But the peace didn't last. The Tornit were quiet creatures, easily angered by noise, disrespect, or trespassing. One story tells of a young Inuit hunter who took a Tornit spear to study it. That night, the ground shook with heavy footfall, and the next morning, the boy's entire village was gone. Fire still burning, dogs howling, but no people, only deep footprints leading up into the mountains. The Tornit are known for their territorial rage. They hate the sound of metal, especially axes or gunshots. Those who cross into their land may hear a low rumble like boulders shifting in the hills. If you run, they may let you go. If you look back, you might not survive to tell the tale. This day, remote hunters and trappers report strange things, like massive footprints in the snow, boulders that seem to be thrown from nowhere, eerie howling on moonless nights. Some believe the Tornit never left. They just moved deeper into Alaska's wilderness, watching us from the tree line, waiting. And that's it.
Well, so basically what they're saying, they're giants, right?
Yeah, you can't even say Bigfoot because, in the second paragraph it says taller than two men. So you're talking, 13, 14, 15 feet.
Yeah. Wow. That's nuts, man. I was kind of looking at
Again,
some pics on there. Go ahead.
Another story that, and I know we talked about giants before. There was that secret thing that happened in the Middle East about soldiers fighting a giant man, and again, a lot of stories have, a lot of cultures have stories about giants, and the whole thing about the Smithsonian supposedly had a bunch of bones from giants, and they either keep them locked away or they destroyed them, and you got to wonder,
Do you think there's giants or was giants? Let me ask you that.
I know part of, I think you were the person I was talking to about this, about the giants being Nephilim, and I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well,
I guess from a common sense point of view, if there were giants, why would it be so important to keep that hidden from everybody? I don't understand that aspect of it.
My opinion on that, because I don't want to I don't want to go, not that I'm ashamed of it, but I don't, go down so much the religious part of it, but I think that they don't want to tell because then they'll 100%, say the Bible's real. Because there's people that believe in the Bible and there's people that don't believe in the Bible. And maybe there's a certain group of people that don't want to admit that the Bible's real, and that would kind of bring to light, well, David and Goliath, and stuff like that.
Yes and no, because the Nephilim, that's only one explanation of what giants could be,
Yeah.
Like, they don't hide dinosaur bones. If you're really religious, dinosaurs are against the Bible too, and they don't hide that from everybody. I guess, I don't know. I think I've told you this before.
Yeah.
I'm very insulted when other people get to decide what I'm smart enough or capable enough of knowing. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, I understand that. And as far as the dinosaur bones go, with like the Bible and religious people, I think that that's like a timeline thing. I do believe there's dinosaurs. I just don't know when. There's a lot of questions that will never get answered on this earth, But I do believe there was dinosaurs. I just don't know when. You know what I mean? Because you start talking like that. Yeah. Well, if you ever, if you believe in the Bible, Adam and Eve, I kind of believe there was a civilization before Adam and Eve, me personally. But I do believe that 100% that there was giants. I believe, to deal with the Nephilim, about the angels coming down and, having sex with the women and, having offspring and coming down and supernaturally having sex with animals and stuff like that, and having, cause that's where you start getting all your gods and stuff, Zeus and all them stuff like that. You go down that rabbit hole. But personally, do you think there could still be, if okay, if you do believe that there was giants, do you think there still could be some out there?
Oof. I think it would be a really hard thing to hide. But again, like I know a lot of one of the prevailing theories in the whole Bigfoot thing is that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being.
Yeah.
And that's why they never find dead bodies or bones, because they're not here all the time. I was at a Paracon here in Milwaukee once, and a lady, her presentation was about Bigfoot and the how it was interdimensional. It was really interesting. Believe it or not, it was super interesting.
Yeah.
Her name was Mary Marshall, but yeah, really good presentation. So she makes a good point, if you believe that, what she said makes sense. So, and a lot of people believe in the whole, multiverse, interdimensional thing. So who knows?
Hold on a second. Be right back.
Sure.
Yes, I forgot it.
All right, that's cool. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. That was my son's friend asked me if I want a steak. It's like, hell yeah, I want a steak.
Hell yeah. When does the answer ever no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asks you want a steak, you never say no.
Yeah, he while we were talking, he hit me on the shoulder, scared the poop out of me, man.
But getting back to giants, I don't know if have you ever seen a movie called Troll on Netflix?
Yes, that's a good movie. Second one's coming out soon.
Movie's amazing. I've watched that movie start to finish about 4 times now. Yeah. I'll probably actually, because I'm done gaming and stuff, and I want to relax and stuff. After we're done, I'll probably throw that on again. It's such a good movie.
It is really a good movie, and you get to the. You get to the giant part. I've told you this before, I think. I have a friend that I went to school with. I was real good friends with school. We lost touch, after school. Kind of followed him on Facebook last 2 or 3 years. He came down about 5 years ago, and we went out to eat. Someone take you out to eat. And he was in the military. And then he was like a semi-pro, like MMA fighter, nothing, serious. And then he become a prison guard captain in one of the worstest prisons in Arkansas, And so he could fight, I seen his record and stuff like that. Even for his age, he was sitting in the yard. My nephews was out there, and the dude, was, freaking fast, so. But anyway, we'll get to the Giants part. He took me out of the truck, put his phone in there. He said, "Man, do you remember about there's no reason for him to lie, is what I'm saying, because he wasn't sitting there bragging about everything. Because I seen that he had a nice place in Branson. He had a new vehicle, He said, I said, man, you got some nice stuff, RVs, everything. And he had a service dog, I guess a PTSD from being over there in Afghanistan. And he told me, he said, do you remember the giant, redhead giant from Candelar? I said, yeah, I've watched about a bunch of that. He said, I was on the second crew that came in. And I'm just looking at him, maybe he's lying, because we wasn't discussing about cryptics, we weren't discussing about giants, and but here I'll kind of, I can't remember everything he told me, but I'll kind of what I remember. He said that he had a friend that was with him, run his mouth after that, ended up dying, went into a coma. You know what I mean by that? So anyway, and then he's told me that he come there after the first ones were there that got killed supposedly by the giant, and they came in there and there was more than one giant in there, and he explained to me it was about 12 foot tall. Said it stunk from so many, man, 100 yards away. They explained, you know, how it looked. It should look like a man, and but more cave-like looking. You know, I just listen to it. Now, if he's telling me the truth, he might be, he might not. I don't know if I believe him or not. But it freaked me out, you know, him telling me that. I mean, why would he just out of the blue, like, try to impress me or tell me something? And it blew my mind when he told me. Now, but like I said, he never did say he wasn't lying or anything. I never did ask him about it again. But he was kind of scared to talk about it, you know.
That's like
in his truck or with his phone. And
a friend of mine.
Go ahead. Let me add this real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is what I wanted to tell you. He went to Oregon, and he went to a facility that he went into that had these big giant computers, oversized, and these big oversized doors. And he was doing something. It was an underground facility and had big, huge chairs in them. But he never did see any giants or anything. And that's what he told me too, you know, through that story. So you could take from what you can believe it or not, or what, you know what I mean? So, but anywho.
Yeah. One of the people I was in paranormal group with, they had a family member that worked at a certain installation in Nevada. And like you said, he was always very fearful to talk about it. And all they would tell my friend was, we weren't guarding nothing. And that's all they would ever say.
Yeah.
All he would say was we weren't guarding nothing.
Wow.
And yeah. So who knows, man?
Well,
who knows?
I mean, like, go ahead.
It's interesting. It's like I said before, it's interesting. But what enrages me is the government thinks that, you know, we're either too stupid or we couldn't handle knowing the truth about certain things. That drives me nuts.
Yeah. That is I don't understand that either. I don't, you know, because I think, like with Bigfoot and the cryptics, I think that they won't tell because it's all to do with money, and then stupid people be out there looking more. You know what I mean? You know, with the cryptid community are divided. Like my friend Daniel was talking from the Cryptid podcast. He was saying, you know, he's friends with another guy, Mysteries Unknown, dude, Josh, and I'm friends with him too, but not, you know, as close with Daniel. He, like, Josh believes that they're a part of the Nephilim bloodline, all this and that, and they're all supernatural. And then Daniel believes they're real good friends, though, they're like brothers. He believes they're more flesh and blood, you know, and might have a little bit of supernatural powers. So there are things out there, dude, that it's out there that we don't understand. Believe me. Like death. I've seen them do a study on death, how the brain is kind of alive, you know, for so long after you die. And, you know, there's just, I mean, near-death experiences. There's so much that we don't understand. And even if you come at it a secular perspective, or if you come at it at a religious, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that we don't understand. But as you have seen paranormal stuff, I've seen paranormal stuff, and it had like an encounter. I know that it had to be a cryptid by encounter. and it scared me, man. I've been scared before, but that was probably the scariest. And they say a lot of these creatures, like cryptids, they have ultrasound or something. I forget the name of the word. Infrasound. To hit you with, because I've heard a lot of them talk about that, and like makes them sick and weak, and I've heard a lot of stuff like from the LBL. I'm not friends with him, but Daniel's friends with Daryl Denton. He was one of the guys. It was in the LBL, and you had these people that's got jobs that are police officers, lawyers, preachers, and I'm not saying that they're more believable than me and you, but what do they got to lie about, dude? But I do believe there is a lot of hallucinations, and people, but I'm a believer. That's all I can tell you. And I do believe that, because you've had phenomena happen to you. You've told me stuff. There's probably a lot more stuff you can tell me, and hopefully I'll have you back on, the podcast talking about that. But dude, there's stuff out there to keep you up at night if you really think about it.
And to kind of talk about that, when I went to a Lutheran elementary school, and when I was younger, I came across, I don't remember if it was from the library or if one of my friends gave it to me, but I read this book called The Devil and Karen Kingston. It's about this little girl. I think she was 8 at the time, but she watched her mother kill her dad in front of her, stabbed him right through the heart with a knife. And again, supposedly, depending on your beliefs, this little girl ends up getting possessed by 13 different demons, right? And the book goes over her exorcism. And what made this really unique is there was a Roman Catholic priest, Southern Baptist priest, and I always forget what the third guy was. I don't know if he was non-denominational or if he was just Lutheran. But so there was them 3, but there was 10 scientists there too, and supposedly, I think it took 3 days altogether. Everything was audio and video recorded, the whole thing from beginning to end. Nobody knows where that is now.
Wow.
The most talked about rumor is that the Vatican has it, but that's like if you and then I listened to a podcast that a preacher did, and he has his little opening, and then he reads part of the book, and then at the end, he'll go over what happened, what he thinks it was, and then prayers at the end. But that was really interesting because like the demons that are possessed her are like like envy and lust and stuff like that. They didn't have, some of them didn't have names per se, but they were like demons of envy and this and that. But like I said, the whole thing was supposedly video and audio recorded, and who knows where that is.
That's crazy. I've never I grew up in a Pentecostal church. When I got later on in life, I'm more non-denominational now. But there's a lot of fake stuff out there, but I do believe in demon possession. Now, I don't believe that you have to have a priest do all these certain things to, exorcise a demon at all. And
like the priest who does the podcast that I listen to, he goes over that too. Like you don't need crosses and holy water. Those are symbols. They're not, they're not the power that you have to get rid of the demon. Those are just, they never, he's a priest or pastor or minister, I don't know the right term. He's part of a deliverance ministry. So like every week at the end of their service, they do deliverances, and so that's where he comes from. But
Man, that's,
Who knows what's out there, man? And what
no.
makes me angry is we'll probably never know because other people get to decide that we don't get to know.
Yes, exactly. There's like later on, maybe next podcast or something, I'll tell some stuff my mom told me when she was, younger, about some things that she seen and stuff happened. But a lot of those encounters that I've heard about, I won't keep you much longer. Can't believe we went 50 minutes, man. It gets interesting talking. Dang.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
You get rolling, but like the encounters, and I'm sorry I can't remember the other guy's name. Daryl didn't, the other dude was there when they seen Dog Man. He started praying and said the name of Jesus, and that's when they left, And I've heard a lot of encounters with that about the Dog Man, and when the pray or something like that, they leave. Now, the stories I've heard about Dog Man, I'll tell you this, and then we can end it. Like Bigfoot down south, they've heard like Bigfoot's not really is really mean down south. You got the folk monster, Boggy Creek, and just different ones, and then more up north, they're not as mean. And I believe there are different breeds of them, and I do believe that some are flesh and blood, some do have supernatural powers. But Dog Man are always bad encounters, but you never really hear of too many attacks. Now I'll watch, listen to the Dog Man encounters with Vic. I don't want to butcher his last name, and follow him on Facebook. I'm friends with him, but I probably, I don't know him or anything, but on Facebook, but because some other guys were connected. But anyway, it's interesting stories with that. But as far as the cryptic, community, man, they're all divided. I don't understand why they just don't get along and just, more, study it. I think that with the technology and stuff, I think really soon that we're going to have more evidence with more about cryptids, believe me. But they have been covering it up. I've heard stories that, after something happened, that they'll cover it up, the government. I don't understand why they do that at all. I'm like you. Why don't they just tell it?
Yeah. Again, I don't agree, but I could get covering up, the whole alien thing, because that could freak people out, man. Are they coming here to attack us? Are they coming here to do the alien probey stuff? I get that, fine.
Yeah.
But like cryptids in the whole that Karen Kingston thing, and why just like and the giants that we were talking about today, it just. I don't think other people should decide what I'm smart enough to handle.
No, it's fear, dude. It's all about fear, And what's your okay? Well, we'll add this and then we can end it. What is your take on the aliens? What do you believe on that situation? And then I'll tell you what I believe. Do you believe in aliens, or where they're from?
I think it would be. I think it would be arrogant to think we're the smartest people in it. Dude, the universe is so big.
Oh yeah.
It never ending. To think we're the only ones. Look, we can't, dude, we kill each other over religion, a piece of land. You would think somebody else figured it out better than us, man. So that being said, do I think aliens have visited Earth and that whole thing? Again, I think I'm on the fence with it, just like the cryptids. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, I think that, like, when you go back, with, like, on the pyramids, you got, murals of, looking crabs
spaceships
and stuff.
Yeah.
I believe, and I'm not just coming at it as a religious and my belief in that, the Bible and stuff, but I believe aliens are fallen angels. I believe that there's good ones because, in the Bible's angels could transform to about anything, you know what I mean? And I believe there's probably, you have and me, we've met angels on earth that was disguised as humans, and I do, but then that's what I think they are. I think aliens are some kind of form of the angels, because look, if you go back and we go back to the Nephilim, that's what happened. The angels came down and gave them knowledge and stuff, you know, the humans, and how to do certain things. They came down, so that could be, you know, the aliens. That could be what they're talking about. I mean, that's my belief on it. I mean, then again, there might be beings out there. I'm not saying there's not. I mean, that's not going to debunk, you know, the Bible for me at all. That's not going to say the Bible's fake, because a lot of stuff in the Bible is historic and stuff.
Yeah, you know, yeah, it would. Again, it would be interesting to know. Again, I always thought, what would I do if I ever saw an actual ghost standing there? Yeah. And I saw that, and I didn't freak out. I didn't run. You know, so, granted, some people might, and I don't know. I think I would like to think that if I saw an alien or a Bigfoot or something like that, I would think I would be the same way. I wouldn't run and, you know, be afraid. I'd be like, oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how I'd be.
Yeah.
But if you don't cool have anything, yes, definitely. Well, I hope to have you back to do another episode.
Oh, for sure.
And stuff. I know you're busy with work and everything, but I really hope that this series takes off, because I'm really enjoying it. You know, I've done an episode with you now, and then the last episode with Ted, so I'm really enjoying it, and I hope people enjoy it, guys. If you watch this video and you enjoy it, comment down there, give me a comment and a like. I do appreciate it. But is there anything
we do have to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we do have to. Like, I know somebody else suggested, man, we got to figure out how to do this live, because I think it'd be so fun to interact with an audience and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But you know, like a chat room, you know, so we're answering questions that they go, or they're giving their opinions and stuff.
Exactly.
And I think that would be a blast to do. Like, you're from Oklahoma. Where is Ted from? California?
Yeah, from California.
It would be cool. Maybe try to set something up for the live streams when we're doing your state, Penn State, Wisconsin. I think that would be cool to do live.
Yeah, I'll definitely ask Ted, see what he thinks about it. Because the next state, if we go alphabetically order, it's Arizona, then after that's Arkansas. Technically, I live in Arkansas, but I would, you know, grew up in Oklahoma. But I mean, we don't have to do that. We could just go live and talk about not even a state, something else, about cryptids or something. We could plan that. But yeah, guys, if you're watching this video and you want us to go live and do something live, tell us down there in the comments. But if you don't have anything to add, Voodoo,
I'll just everybody out there who's watching this, just, you know, give the video a like, comment on the video. I know comments are huge in the YouTube algorithm. And share the video, man. Get more people watching.
Yes, because I really enjoy making these, and I don't want to do them in vain, guys. You know, I'm learning just along with you. But anyway, I appreciate it, Voodoo, and everybody out there. Thank you for watching this episode of Whispers Across America. We'll catch you next time, and make sure to look under your bed, guys, before you go to sleep. Anyway. Peace out, everyone.